Hello and welcome to the next video of the LCK preview series. We're covering Nongshim RedForce, a squad that have struggled over the last 3 years. No championship points to be had. Constantly in a rebuild. I mean, I guess that's unfair. I think in 2022 they did try and run like a veteran roster with BDD and Ghost and Kana and I think the jungler was Dread. Forget who the support was. It might have still been Peter, but the point still remains that they tried to run a roster that was not all rookies and it didn't work. So the last couple of years have been all young players. Well, this year they've identified who they want to go with as those young players and then, surrounded them with some reputable veterans, a world champion, and we'll see what happens. So going into this year, I have them ranked ninth statistically based on last year's stats. I believe that is the floor. The reason being, we have some players clearly ranked well below where they're at, so you raise them up a bit. I'm sure that they could finish. There could be a threat there for 6th place, theoretically. So, top lane, we have Kingen. He's ranked 6th going into the season. I would say he's better than 6th, but I also don't believe he's a top 3 top laner by any means. He could be 4th. I think 4th is in the conversation, but definitely not top 3. I think that is clearly Zeus and Doran and Keen. So 2.8 KDA, 52.1 KP, 8 CS per minute. Was more carry oriented on D plus Kia last season. 1.2 share differential and 1.34 ROI. This team has enough carry threat, which will surprise people because they look at it and they see the names. But there is enough carry threat between Kingen, Jiwoo, and Fisher based on how they performed last season in terms of share differential that they can do enough with what they're given in gold and get, a serious amount of damage put out there. And that's a good thing for them. Now, the issues become the minus 75 for Kingen. Yeah, that's small, but it adds up across the team, and everybody is behind at 15 minutes. I don't think, Lehens is ahead, but that's because he played on Gen G. So, everybody else but Lehens was behind at 15 minutes. We'll talk about it. So 2.83 vision efficiency, 24 champions, 125 games, 24 years old. Nar Atrax Kesante, 46% of his champion usage last season. Kangen is behind him. Now this kid, I think, is going to be a player that we're going to have to look at for 2026. This stat line is pretty nice. So a 2.7 KDA, but a 8.7 KP paired with an 8.5 CS per minute. Involved in nearly 3 out of every 5 kills. High resource. Still put out a 2.4% share differential with that high resource and a 1.36 ROI. Kid's going to be the real deal. Only 5 gold ahead of 15 minutes. That's where you got to hold him back another year and say, okay, well, now you need to dominate the laning phase. You've got the team fighting down. You've got getting resources and turning that into damage during team fights, but you need to open up leads in the laning phase. 21 champions in 93 games. Jiho, 2.4 KDA, 46.7 KP in Academy, 7.3 CS per minute. 1.47 ROI, 7 champions, 46 games. In the jungle, we have Sylvie. Sylvie's ranked 8th going into the season based on last year's stats. 2.4 KDA, 72 KP, and a 5.7 CS per minute. Not quite as high resource as other junglers. Last season's meta indicated a lot of junglers would have over 6 CS per minute. Sylvie was not one of them. -4 share differential, was even in terms of damage divided by gold. So, he gave the team back what they -4 share differential, but he utilizes gold pretty evenly. -170 gold at 15 minutes, 3.62 vision efficiency. Hell, when your team's losing lane, you're not gonna be able, invade the enemy jungle to get good vision. 19 champions, 84 games, is 22 years old. Sejuani, Maokai, and Viego, 46% of his champion usage. Not many Viegos in the top 3 in Tier 1 last season. Now, behind Sylvie is some insurance with Gideon. Now, I say that generously because I wouldn't consider Gideon to be much insurance at all. But last season he played with Bro for a split. Technically, if we take that split and compare it to everyone else going into this year, he would be last amongst LCK junglers. 2.6 KDA, 75.1 KP, and a 5.6 CS per minute. So 3 out of every 4 kills. Involved in Bro's play. But we have to remember about my video with KT and Young J. Young J would have ranked first based on his split with Bro. So it kind of goes to show you the meta difference, for one, because Young J played in summer, Gideon played in spring, but also how much more Young J was able to do with a very similar team. Negative 5.1 share differential, 0.88 ROI, down 15 gold, 4.05 vision efficiency, 12 champions, 40 games. And then there's Karam. Karam's a young player and somebody that we've, I think, identified in the past and want to keep an eye on as a potential prospect. 3.3 KDA, 69.1 KP, 5.9 CS per minute, negative 2 share differential in challengers with a 1.17 ROI. Very important to his team in the jungle role. Negative 260 gold at 15 minutes, 4 vision efficiency, 12 champions, 49 games. We've got Fisher, who ranks 8th. Based on who's 9th and 10th, I could argue Fisher is 10th going into this season. With that in mind, we think about this when we say, okay, Kingan should be rated higher, Fisher should be rated lower, and we figure out where they should rank, Nongshim overall. They're 9th right now, right? Now, half of Fisher's season was spent with EDG in the LPL, and we saw that tire fire, so that is a thing. Now, he had a 2.6 KDA, 68.4 KP, and an 8.9 CS per minute last season with a positive 6 share differential and a 1.61 ROI, which leads the team. So, most efficient for himself, damage divided by gold, which mid laners can't. We see it pretty close. It's like 50-50. Some mid laners, do better with the gold than the AD carry. But the share differential is nice because EDG struggled. Nongshim weren't that great. So, he can give his team quite a bit of a carry threat in the damage share department. Down 30 gold, 2.44 vision efficiency, 14 champions, 69 games, 20 years old. Azir, Corki, Orianna, 59% of his champion pool. So very traditional Korean mid there. Azir, Corki, Orianna, 60% of his champion pool. Calyx is behind him. Calyx did play quite I think maybe 9 or 10 games in LCK last season, but when you take in all 74 from last year, he had good numbers. He needs to deal more damage, but he's a young player. I think he's only 17 years old still. 4.9 KDA, 70.7 KP, 9.3 CS per minute, and because of that high resource of 4.3 share differential and a 1.47 ROI, up 190 gold, 2.67 vision efficiency, 12 champions, 74 games. There's Beast. Beast is on the academy team. He had a 3.1 KDA, 67.5 KP, 8.2 CS per minute, but pun intended, he has a beastly ROI, over 2. That's the second time I've seen a 2 or more ROI doing these videos this year. 14 in 72 games in champion pool. So that's a player to watch going forward as well. Very aggressive. Very aggressive. 80 carry is Jiwoo. He ranks 5th. I would say that might be his ceiling this year as he takes his next step. He's only 20 years old. We can condemn him for the last year and a half, but he's a young player and the team was not very good. You have multiple supports in and out of the lineup, different mid laners. What do you really expect out of a player like that? What do you expect him to do? So, this year with Lehens alongside him, this is the year where he needs to really show it. They have a veteran support alongside him that's proven to be a success, MSI champion. 2.7 KDA, 68 KP, 9 CS per minute, positive 6 share differential and 1.6 ROI. Down 245 gold at 15 minutes, 2.62 vision efficiency, 18 champions in 85 games. Zeri, Kaisa, Lucian, 38% of his champion pool. Lucy in challengers needs to get better, but also needs, he only played one split. So 3.3 KDA, 68.9 KP, 9.2 CS per minute. Did not offer a massive carry threat with a 2.6 share differential, but a 1.56 ROI. Down 180 gold at 15 minutes, 2.89 vision efficiency. 12 champions, 33 games. Selena, in Academy. 3.4 KDA, 66.1 KP, 9.1 CS per minute, 1.73 vision efficiency, 13 champions, 36 games. So this team, you know, there's no real threat to Jiwoo for the 80 carry role outside of maybe Vital going back to 80 carry. Behind him, it's not really there. Fisher, I could see being, forced by Calix a bit. Lehens, ranked 7th going into the season based on stats. We know Lehens is better than 7th. Hell, he's a top 7 support in the world easily. So that's where the difference really lies. He's probably, 2nd or 3rd in the LCK. So that probably takes him from 9th to easily 8th, if not 7th, if we actually, manipulate where players are based on how we feel. And then you take into account how I said Fisher's probably lower and King is probably higher. Jiwoo's probably a little lower. They're better than 9th, but they aren't like 5th or something. And Lehen's oldest player on the team at 26. I expect him to be the shot caller. 3.8 KDA, 70 KP. Very traditional support, negative 6.4 share differential, 0.72 ROI. Up 90 gold at 15 minutes. So if you do the math here, 275, 520, 430. This team's behind 430 gold on average at 15 minutes. So the laning phase needs to be better. 1.77 vision efficiency. You'd like that to be better out of a player like Lehens. I will say that. Like, he didn't play many Ashe games. There are other players that don't have Ashe listed in their top 3. And more champion usage out of those 3 and found better vision. On a team like Gen G, Lehens should have had better vision at a 1.77 vision score per ward placed. 19 champions in 135 games. Nautilus, Leona, Alistar, 39% of his champion pool. Vital. He role swapped from 80 carry to support into summer. So 11 of these 42 games are LCK games after just role swapping to support. 2.6 excuse me. 2.6 KDA, 72.5 KP. Negative 5.9 share differential, but a 0.74 ROI. Given there was like a few Senna games in there, honestly, I figured that Vital's ROI would have been higher because he's an 80 carry role swap to support his Senna game, should have a decent amount of damage on him. 2.14 vision efficiency, down 190 gold at 15 minutes. See? Efficient in vision. 12 champions, 42 games. Pleasure is on the academy team. 2.5 KDA, only a 65.9 KP, but a 0.95 ROI. So very aggressive in academy. 22 champions, 72 games. Coach is Shelly. Shelly was the coach last season. Went 9-27 with a 25% win rate. So this team has got to develop, got to be better tomorrow than it was yesterday, and next week better than today. Just improve in that respect. And we'll see what happens. So thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.